Hopefully you're all doing well during this very difficult time that we are all living in. For this video, I really didn't know what to do. I do miss traveling. I do miss all the pre-corona times where I get to travel a lot. But I was also kind of homesick recently, and I was just going around in Google Street View and just looking at some of the places that I do remember, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna share some of the stuff that I remember so vividly, and it's still like really close to my heart, which is Dubai, my hometown where I grew up in. So yeah, trying to share that perspective of home, a slice of home from my perspective to yours. The other thing that I always come across is that most people don't know where Dubai is, which is kind of weird. It's basic geography. The other thing is that most people think Dubai is this, this whole place filled with gold. It's all glitters, and everything that glitters is gold, which is all true. But it's not usually what the entire picture of Dubai is. A lot of stuff that is there, like especially the residential stuff, is very old. That's where the most of the people live, and that's what culturally represents Dubai as such. The one portion that they show in ads and all that is not entirely true. So here's me taking a jab at it and obviously educating you guys about what Dubai truly is, some of the places that I grew up in, some of the places that I fondly remember, love, hate, and everything. So this is gonna be Dubai, the whole series, I guess. So let's see how long I can stretch this up to. So yeah, hopefully you like it, and yeah, let's get to the video. All right, without further delays, let's get to my hometown, Dubai. So Dubai is in United Arab Emirates, and I'm using Google Street View here to just show you where exactly I lived, where I was born, how I grew up here, and everything. So I grew up in this place called Burdubai. Again, Dubai is like super small, and there isn't like a block is actually a small place, and then to go to one place to another, it's like a 30-minute drive. It's not too far compared to the US with the city layout and everything. So it's a really small place and a city. So yeah, so basically this place is called Bartabai, and it hasn't changed at all since you know from looking at the satellite image is updated in 2016, and even when I was a kid, it looks so similar and the same exactly. Also, that shop is Irma is where my dad actually bought his first computer, which is the Windows 95, and I have really pleasant memories playing with it. Anyways, if you look at over here, compared to what the popular belief is, you don't see skyscrapers, you see like constructions going on over here, and that's pretty much how the residential area of Dubai is. And this is the building where I lived. Sorry about the zoom out. So you can pretty much see like two LED boards and stuff, which means like it's vacant, it's empty. Unlike in the US, where you have like leasing offices and stuff, you have to basically call up the number and then inquire about whether you have apartments available, and you still see people hanging clothes over there. This particular blue building next to the building that I grew up in was a very fancy building because it had 7 floors, whereas I lived in a 5-floor building, 5-storied building. And this hotel is called Arif Castle. It was a really fancy hotel, but now it's called something called Kuwait Johnson or something. I have no idea. So yeah, so this is Burdubai. Burdubai is one of the oldest port, as well as the oldest place in Dubai itself. So yeah, pretty old, and it's been there since so many years. So that particular stop is the bus stop, and believe it or not, buses. Dubai is a very hot place, so the temperatures go up to like 120 Fahrenheit to 45, 50 Celsius sometimes, and yeah, it's really hot. So all the bus stops in here have air conditioned, so it's like a really cool spot and a chill spot, like hang out for a little while. and the heat over here can be really sweltering, like it can literally drain you out. So the heat can be really really sweltering and it can get really hot. Also the roads here are very very wide. You can pretty much go around 80 kilometer per hour, close like 40 50 miles per hour on a normal residential place. So cars move pretty fast over here. I don't think this street is 80, but because it's a 3-lane road, but they go in pretty fast, and the roads are really wide. So yeah, Burdubai is the oldest town. There's also Deira, which is one of the oldest town as well. Both Burdubai and Deira are opposite to each other, and yeah, so it's a pretty cool layout. Also, you can see some of the junction boxes over here, or crossways, or whatever you call them. I don't know what exactly you call them, but yeah. So I live next to a port, which was Port Mina, and there used to be like really really cool ships that come from US and all that. So this particular place, or silos or silos, however you want to call it, is one of my favorite spots. It's also called the National Flour Mill when I grew up, and now it's changed to Janan. So in there, you actually have loads and loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of flour, just like flour, like wheat. So basically, obviously, Dubai is a really hot country to harvest anything. So there are all these imports from the US or places where they actually have a surplus of wheat, and they actually store them in the silos. And yeah, roads over here are really wide, and it is walkable right now. But when I grew up, like everything was walkable here. But obviously, with the expansion and everything, it's more like more commercial now than residential. So this is another hypermarket. So Dubai has a layout as well. You have bodegas and you have like small shops within the building. But obviously you can't do like grocery shopping and stuff. So you pretty much have like hypermarkets, which is like the one here, right here, Carrefour. It's one of the biggest hypermarket in Dubai, where you basically have like everything in it, like kind of like a Costco, but none of the bulk deals. Yeah, so that's pretty much Bar Dubai. You have like a lot of cool stuff here and there. There's also this place called Heritage Village, which is super boring. And look, a date tree. So basically, dates are super surplus there, but they actually have bags inside, so that once the date falls, it's actually inside the bag. So you can't like go ahead and steal a few dates and eat them for yourself. So yeah, pretty cool. And if you ask me, I do remember grabbing a few dates from the trees and eating them, but they were really raw. They were not processed like the ones you find from the store, or pitted. So you basically have a lot of seeds in there. Actually, just one, but that's how it is. So next up, let's get to a lot of other places, which is interesting. Let me just scroll up or down. I really don't know what I'm doing over here. Okay, let's check out Deira, which is another place that I really wanted to show you before. Again, both Bardubai and Deira are one of the oldest towns that ever existed in Dubai, and all the other places came afterwards. Okay, I don't know where I am right now. I'm completely lost, and I'm like swiveling and then making a mess out of panorama. So yeah, just looking at this picture right here, you see that there's a huge difference between what is marketed and what's what you actually see here, because this is actually, believe it or not, the real Dubai, what many people grew up in or live, like the normal people do live in there. But the ones that they show in ads and stuff is like the really really fancy places and whatnot. So I'm trying to get to the souk, but I'll just show you a bit more about the water experience of the creek. So both Bardubai and Deira are not interconnected. They're actually separated by a water body, which was also like man-made. Like a lot of this creek was further expanded, and all these are backwaters just to create like a canal effect. I don't know how, no knowledge of that, but soon they wanted to make it as an attraction and have these cool ferries. While I grew up, it was like all of these old yacht boats and stuff. So really, really old, and used to just pay 1 dirham. Actually, not even 1 dirham, 25 fils, which is like a quarter. But let me just convert it how much it is. It's actually fairly cheap, if you ask me. Um, yeah, let me just convert it, but it's like less than 25 cents probably. But yeah, that's how cheap it was. So quick conversion is about 7 cents, which is like super cheap. Like you can cross the both places for just 7 cents, like one way. So 25 fils is pretty cheap. I think over the time they increased it to like a dirham, which is also really cheap. It's close to 25 to a quarter dollars and stuff. So that's pretty much it. And so coming to the next stop is Deira. This is the Banias road. Again, a lot of these roads are very, very wide. You have dedicated footpaths and stuff. So these are the yachts that I was talking about. Not really yachts per se, but like smaller boats that go from place to place. And the frequency is pretty nice. It's like every 5 minutes or every other minute, depending on what time do you really go at. If it's early morning, you wouldn't find as frequent and stuff, and later during the night you would find it every other minute or something like that. So these are the really, really big yachts. So here you get the cultural feel. Again, this is what Dubai is all about. The culture, the Arab culture really reflects in burdubai and Deira. You see all these skyscrapers are more towards the later part of Dubai, which was developed over the late 90s or the early 2000s or even the late 2000s, 2010s. All those buildings are what Dubai really, a lot of people think that's what it is, but it's not true. But given the fact that this does look really old, there's a lot of culture behind it. Also, during festival time, during Eid, these places really glow up. You don't find like places really dark during any time of the day. You always have street light, which is bright and nice, and yeah. So coming over here, residential towers don't really go more than 3 floors, 4 floors, maximum 5, 7, depending on how much they have permission to build. Again, they're building over sand, so it's not really a strong foundation as such. And yeah, so Banias Square, Banias Road is one of the iconic roads. And again, the construction as itself, you have a building, a really old building or a building in general, and you have shops down below. That's how the construction usually is. So you would always have a bodega, you would always have some sort of a business running below your building, and that's actually the landmark. So if you were to invite people or guests over, they would be like, okay, this is the brown building which has 7 floors, and there's a shop called Hamilton down below, and that's pretty much how people would describe how to enter your building or your premises. And yeah, so it's pretty much how it is. And this is Al Ras, which is the curved portion of Deira. You also have mosque in every other block, which is where people pray. They do namaz, which is what they call that praying, and like during different times of the day. So yeah, and you have lots of shops over here. So this is mostly in the daytime where the sun is nice and bright and you don't see much people here. I wonder what time they actually took these images. Looks very deserted, but I can assure you that during the night or during any time of the day, it's really, really, really crowded. Lots of people walking in and around the street and everything. So that's how you get a feel of Dubai. Obviously, with more buildings later on in the late 2000s, they also have a parking structure. And, you might think that these buildings look really cheap, but they really aren't, because they are mostly in the heart of the city. And from here, you can basically get around any place, anytime. And yeah, so also Deira is the home to the one and only Gold Souk. Gold Souk is this amazing place. You must have heard rumors where people are like, oh wait, you can actually grab a lot of gold. Gold must be lying around. People actually buy gold from vending machine. That is all not true, but you do have gold shops in a souk. Souk is basically bazaar, or like this alleyway where you have different shops and they all have gold for display. back then gold, again, Dubai was a tax-free country. Not It's not a country, but like UAE in general is a tax-free country, and a lot of most Arab countries are tax-free country. So people used to think that buying gold is cheaper, which is not true. It's just that it's not taxed. So it's the same amount of, the rate is the same, but it's not taxed even now. It was taxed in between, during to VAT and stuff, and then people stopped buying it, and then they stopped putting tax on it. I don't know how far it's there, but anyways, it's not really cheap. And the other thing is that Dubai gold is really pure. You wouldn't have any impurities in it, so that's another reason people are obviously super crazed about gold, especially the South Asian community, and they just love gold. And again, during this time, I think this must be a Friday afternoon where most people are going for prayer time, or it's closed due to prayer time. So that's why you don't find many people over here. And yeah, so this particular icon is super iconic because it's called the shopping festival. I spent many years, really living for shopping festival. And there's this cartwheel over there which is pretty iconic, where if you buy something for a certain amount you get a raffle, and the raffle usually leads to you getting a Lexus for free, or 100 Lexus, and people just are batshit crazy about it. My dad used to like buy so many raffle tickets and just put his name, my name, and my mom's name in there, and then hope to win a Lexus or some other exorbitant amount of prize, like gold bars and stuff. But we never won, guys. We never did. So yeah, that's how crazy it is. So hopefully you like this video. I'm gonna have lots more parts, just so that it's you get a real feel for what Dubai really is. So hopefully you like that. Do like, share, and subscribe to this video. And that is all, y'all. I love you guys so much. That's all, y'all. See you later in another video. Bye.